Welcome to Tommy's Take for another video. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. It really helps the channel grow. Also, like the video, please, and comment down below. Really appreciate you guys for supporting me in this channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about President Donald Trump. And is he gaslighting us? Is President Trump gaslighting us? Is he gaslighting Americans concerning the Strait of Hormuz, saying that the United States has total control over the strait? Well, in this episode, we're going to watch an interview with Jimmy Dore, and it's a pretty good one. We'll watch it together, and then we'll comment on the video. All right, so let's get into it.
We have Larry Johnson, former CIA analyst, deputy director of the State Department's Office of Counterterrorism, where he specialized in transportation security and anti-terrorism training. He then co-founded Berg Associates, LLC, an international consulting firm focusing on terrorism, aviation security, and crisis management. He currently publishes analysis on intelligence, national security, and political issues at his website sonar21.com. Is that current?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's my daily. It's like being a dairy farmer, man. You have to milk it every day.
Okay. And also he's launching a line of Hawaiian shirts. You could see those also at Sonar 21. After Jimmy Buffett's death, he's picked up the mantle. Anyway, I wanted to get your reaction to this. Now, I was under the impression that this war was lost because Iran, there's no way we could break up and balkanize Iran. And we also could not take over the Strait of Hormuz. But there's been some new reporting, and I want to get your response. It says Iran finds control over Hormuz Strait slipping away, but U.S. far from becoming victorious. Analysts assess that Iran has partially lost effective control. More vessels now use routes Iran cannot easily police, but the U.S. does not have full uncontested control. Attacks, threats, and risks continue to deter normal traffic. The U.S. Navy has developed a sophisticated method of batching large oil tankers and guiding them through Hormuz in the dead of night under U.S. protection. That's from the Business Times. According to an August 18th report by Kepler, a global data and analysis company, more than 80% of seaborne transits in the Gulf over the past fortnight use the Omani route. The UN authorized is that UN authorized or unauthorized? I think that's UN authorized southern channel that Iran objects to and cannot police, rather than the Iranian territorial waters lane through which Tehran intends to levy its tolls. And here's my last slide. But the general figure accepted by energy analysts is that anything between 8 million and 10 million barrels of oil now pass through Hormuz each night, roughly half of what used to be normal traffic. What is this a good report or is this bad reporting? What's your intelligence tell you?
Yeah, it's
So just real quick, like if you turn on Fox News, all you're going to see is, Fox and Friends and all these guys talking about how whatever Trump is saying, they're just going to repeat it. However, you do sometimes see them starting to ask questions, which I don't watch Fox News every day, but sometimes when I tune in just to see what they're saying, and I did today, I was kind of surprised that they were, they were speaking to the narrative, but they were asking questions. They were a little confused and a little puzzled sometimes because, Trump has been going back and forth for a long time, right? So okay, enough of that. Let's get into the video.
Well, there's also every night passing through. I think there's a herd of unicorns, flying unicorns. They're making it through too. But we're not counting those because we're afraid it would show up as UFOs or unidentified flying objects that we'd have to update our database. Look, Jimmy, this is such a load of horse manure and fermented horse manure at that. This is, if this was true, then why is the United States leveling end of the world sanctions on Iran? I mean, if the Strait of Hormuz is open, as Donald Trump insists, it's wide open. Hey, and then anything can go through, right? But anything cannot go through because Iran still has these things called ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, underwater drones, surface level drones, and even artillery. Iranian artillery can reach the entire width of the Strait of Hormuz there. That's what these U.S. analysts don't understand. And if this many barrels of oil was getting out there, then why is the price of oil going up? Because that would be increasing the supply of oil. But what
It's a good point. It's a good point. Let them cook. Let's let them cook.
I learned in the introduction to economics, if they're really replacing this amount of oil that had disappeared, then why is the price going up?
So this is just pure propaganda, as we're used to from establishment media.
Yeah, manipulate the public. Well, you saw Bessent yesterday. Yeah, I mean, he sort of gave up the game where he said, I don't understand why the price of oil is not coming down, because I said we're going to have all these terrible sanctions, and that should have dropped the price of oil so all my buddies who I told to short the oil could make some money.
No kidding. I didn't see him. No, I missed that yesterday.
Oh yeah, you have your staff pull it up. I mean, he said it twice. I don't understand. Wait a second. I mean, for God's sake, you're Secretary of the Treasury and you don't have a clue about this? It's real simple. The supply of oil is down. That's why the price of oil is going up.
And so it's status quo. Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz.
Correct.
And because what I've been hearing and reading up until I saw this article was that Iran is actually talking with Oman and leaving the United States out of it completely.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, why do you think Donald Trump threatened to bomb Oman now?
I know, right? Didn't that come out of nowhere? Little old Iran. Why would he want to bomb Oman? You know? They're making good points. Let's let them cook. Let them cook.
Now back into the Stone Age the other day.
That's
because right. Oman and Iran have reached an agreement on Oman collecting tolls as well. And so here is Oman who thought, well, we got a friendly relationship with Washington. We tried to broker the peace deal that then Trump broke back on February 28th. And now Trump's threatening to bomb them. And hey, this is having a relationship with the United States is like having a relationship with a psychotic boyfriend or girlfriend.
Well, as Henry Kissinger said, being America's enemy is dangerous, being our friend is deadly.
Yes.
I like when they slip and tell the truth every once in a while. So let me show you this. So this is from the same Business Times. The U.S. President Donald Trump announced what he called the most crushing economic operation ever taken against Iran, vowing on August 20th that the Islamic Republic would suffer economic warfare and isolation on an unprecedented scale, and threatening any state whose financial institutions, businesses, airports, or government entities offered Iran any type of lifeline with tremendous economic consequences. Tehran's official response was to yawn. Yeah. Now, is that what do you make of? I mean, do any of the countries around the world pay any attention to those kind of threats from Donald Trump anymore? Are they going to affect their behavior at all?
No, it will not affect their behavior. Look, within Trump, the logical inconsistencies in this announcement, because remember, he also included in there saying, we've destroyed the Iranian army, we've destroyed the Iranian Air Force, we've destroyed the Iranian Navy, we have obliterated their nuclear program, they have no more ballistic missile effect. So we've completed a total military defeat of Iran. Then if that's the case, why are we imposing end of the world economic sanctions on them? Because you remember what Joseph Stalin did at the end of World War II after the Soviets took control of Berlin? He imposed those same kind of economic sanctions on the Germans. I'm going to teach you now. I mean, it's crazy. This just underscores that, in fact, the United States has not defeated Iran militarily, and they're trying to go for the economic play. the problem with that,
You know, it's so clear, right? Especially when you just hear it like that. For how long has Trump been saying that, and Pete Hegseth have been saying that Iran's military has been decimated, destroyed, obliterated. Their nuclear program is underground. Their navy at the bottom of the sea, right? Their missile capacity, their missile capability, their missile production, all destroyed. How long have they been saying that? So if their navy's at the bottom of the sea, if they can't produce, if their missiles have been destroyed and they can't produce missiles, then what defense do they have? The strait should be open, right? Why are you now imposing economic sanctions on them? Like you said, only because what they have been saying all this time is not true. And they are gaslighting us. Fox News, Hegseth, Trump, they are gaslighting us. And we're falling for it.
is it's based on an assumption that Iran is still addicted to the U.S. petrodollar, and that Iran has no other trade options outside of dealing with the United States and sailing products to the Gulf Strait of Hormuz. But that's not the case. They've got a free trade route north-south with Russia through the Caspian Sea. They've got an open trade route east-west with China over the what's now called the New Silk Road, as well as 6 land routes with Pakistan that flow port items delivered into the ports, such as Gwadar in Pakistan, and then taken across the border into Iran. So Iran's not isolated. 10 years ago, yeah, it was isolated. Not now.
That's another good point. Like these economic sanctions, Iran has found a way to beat them, to go around them. He mentioned so many other routes that and partners that Iran has, with Russia, with China, Pakistan. They have so many options. So sanctions, I don't know. It hasn't worked before. It hasn't crippled Iran, at least. And I don't think it's going to cripple them now. Iran has found some partners in the Middle East and around the world. I don't think Russia and China are going to cut Iran off. I don't think they're going to do that.
So, I mean, and also there's it makes no sense. When I read it, I'm like, well, there's a thing called BRICS happening,
Yes.
which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And now there's at least 11 other countries that are anxious to sign on to BRICS, which is a new economic power center. What that really is, since the United States is doing sanctions against everybody, and they kicked Russia out of the SWIFT banking system. And so what they're going to do is like, we're going to create our own model, and we're not going to use the American dollar as the reserve currency. And so all this does is kind of expose the paper tigerness of the American sanctions, and it's kind of really signaling the end of the American dollar being the reserve currency. Isn't that what this is actually going to do?
In fact, the American dollar is no longer the reserve currency, at least for banks. What happened in the last 2 weeks, gold surpassed the U.S. dollar as the primary reserve currency that banks are using. So now the U.S. petrodollar is now in second place. But Jimmy, you're exactly right. We've reached a stage now in history that where we try to, it's like with Russia, when we tried to enforce sanctions on Russia back in February 2022, saying we got them now, we're going to cut them off from SWIFT. They're not going to have any access to Western banks. They're going to shrivel up and die. Well, the geniuses who came up with that policy forgot to consider that, number one, Russia is the only country in the world that is completely self-sufficient, independent when it comes to resources. They can feed themselves, they can fuel themselves, they've got oil, they've got gas, they've got uranium, they got everything. So they don't really need the outside world. However, what it did do is it pushed them into a closer relationship with China. China as well was feeling the heat from the United States, and they've now set up an alternative financial system. And instead of SWIFT to move money through across nations, Chinese have this thing called CIPS, CIPS. and that stands for Cross-Border Interbank Payment System. And over 100 countries have now signed up to use SIPs. So the once total U.S. control of this international financial market, it's been dented. And well,
it's so crazy. I mean, Tucker Carlson has been saying this too. I gotta do some. I haven't even done a video on Tucker Carlson yet, but I want to do some videos on Tucker Carlson because he's been saying this for a while and foreshadowing this in the kind of way, and it's really playing out. And it's funny. The funny thing is, Tucker always says that he's oftentimes wrong, but I think he's getting this right. That what we're seeing is the end of an empire, and the United States has stretched itself thin. Unfortunately, the United States has misinterpreted its power. It misinterpreted how much reach it has, right? And that's just folly. It's pure folly. So Tucker is dead on. It seems like he's dead on.
Well, Swift is still sort of number one. It's the aging former superstar. It is it no longer is dominant. SIPs, because Swift is analog. It's email. You got to type it in. SIPs is digital. They use blockchain, so it's instantaneous. And so the United States is desperately trying to stop this, but it seems like every action we take to punish a foreign government, you're not going to do that, we're going to sanction you. What do the governments do? They turn around and go to the Chinese and say, hey, these guys don't harass us. They don't lecture us, and they certainly don't threaten us.
And they certainly don't bomb them.
Yeah, well, that too. Well, I look at what Canada did. So, here's Trump busting Canadian chops, and Canada was one of our major suppliers of this heavy crude oil that we use in our refineries to produce diesel and aviation fuel, the refineries that are all along the Gulf Coast. So, Trump, the insult president, goes after Canada. What does Canada do? They start selling the oil to China. So now we're getting less oil from Canada. It's going to China, and our refineries are they're struggling now. They can't get product because there's not excess product out there on the market. And right now we have a global diesel fuel crisis. It's a shortage. It's global, and there's no immediate solution on the horizon for it.
And so what do you...
And this is really going to affect trucking. It's going to affect logistics. This is not going to be good. This is not going to be good. I made a video on this today.
What do you see as the ramifications of that, and how soon will they be evident?
Well, you started to see it yesterday. Remember how where Besson said, I don't understand why the price of oil is not coming down. Well, that was happening. Both Japan and China were selling off U.S. treasuries. And what did Besson have to do? He had to go out and start basically buying U.S. treasury bills with short-term bills. I mean, it's a crazy system. Normally, this would, my understanding, would have required action by the Federal Reserve, but they had to enact emergency measures. And so we're seeing the rest of the world.
So wait a minute, you're telling me that Besant, the Secretary of Treasury, is printing money or borrowing money to buy back our own treasuries right now?
Yes. Yep. Happened yesterday.
How does that make sense, Larry?
Dude, it doesn't make sense, but that's what this government is so disconnected from reality. I mean, every day, and we've seen it. We're not just seeing it in the financial sector. I mean, for God's sake, we saw it with respect to the U.S. Navy, the reports coming out of the U.S. Navy that not just the USS Abraham Lincoln, every ship in the fleet is suffering from a shortage of food and shortage of hygiene products and not being properly supplied. And there's some structural reasons for that. But instead of the Trump administration coming out and saying, hey, well, we just discovered this is a problem, because it's been building since Barack Obama. But instead of doing that, they come out and deny it. They call all the parents who are reporting these problems liars. And I've spoken with 3 of the women. 2 are mothers of sailors. One's a mother of a Marine that have all been on floats. And these are all women who supported Trump. And they're some kind of angry.
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy that our government just lies to us about everything. Almost everything and anything, they'll just lie to us. Like, when are we going to have a government that's for us, that's honest, represents us, cares about Americans? Like, when are we going to have a government like that? You know, it used to be that this was done like in a way to not like put it in your face where it wasn't so apparent. Now it's just like out in the open. Like, Trump is telling you, like, he's telling you clearly, like, he just doesn't care. He doesn't care. You know, his family's making a ton of money, buying islands in the Mediterranean. I don't know.
Because their sons are one mother, she showed me the pictures. The kid came back, he lost 30 pounds. And he was not some large, big bodied kid that had weight to lose. So this is real, and it's affecting people that were part of the Trump base formerly, and they're angry at him. Instead of Trump coming out and saying, "Hey, we got a problem. I hear you. Let's fix it." If he would have done that, yeah,
because he doesn't care. Trump doesn't care.
He would have been doing well politically, but that's not what he's doing. He's playing defense and calling people liars.
And that's the thing. I was so happy when Trump won the presidency. For one, I didn't want Kamala to win it. And 2, Trump was saying all the right things. Trump was saying all the right things. And we just didn't follow through on any of his campaign promises or on the ones that were popular with the American people.
When they point out the truth.
Do you?
Right? Mainly no war.
Which honestly sounds like someone in the early stages of dementia. Here's that Scott Besson clip that you talked about. Let me play it. Get your response.
I'm confident that bonds will continue declining. We've got a spike in oil prices today that I don't really understand. Our announcement.
There it is.
I don't understand.
I don't understand. Well, what first he said something about bond prices. Let me hear what he said about them.
I'm confident that bonds will continue declining. We've got.
Did he say bonds will continue to decline?
Decline, right? But that's not what happened yesterday. What happened is the yield on the bonds spiked, which he's been trying to prevent that. And one of the reasons the yield on the bonds spiked is because China and Japan were selling off their bonds.
So
and that's our strategy. It's like, if I come on your show and I insult you and call you every name in the book, and at the end I said, "Hey, Jimmy, would you endorse my book, please, and help publicize it?" You're going to go, "Yeah, there are 2 ways. There's no way and there's no way in hell. Get lost."
And so, again, bad politics by the United States government and Trump administration. And, not only can we not replace our missiles because we need rare earth minerals from China who are not going to sell it to us.
Right.
But now they're holding our bonds, which is our debt. And when they sell it, it spikes the interest rates on the bonds, which means the United States debt just got more expensive for the United States.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not good. So now we have 5% U.S. Treasury bonds, which hasn't happened. I don't know.
Man, this Iran war, us going after Iran in this war of aggression, it's like really undoing us in ways that we did not foresee.
A couple generations. It's not good.
Right. Not only that, they didn't get a lot of play, but when Donald Trump took office in 2017, January 20, 2017, total U.S. debt was $20 trillion. When he took office on January 25th of 2020, in January 2025, the debt had now risen to $37 trillion. So that was, it increased 17 trillion under Trump and Biden. Now in 3 years, it has gone up. In 18 months, it's gone up $3 trillion. It's now $40 trillion, and it's going to continue to grow. It's growing geometrically. That alone ends up weakening the U.S. currency, and it's going to lead to the potential of hyperinflation in this country, an inflation that can't be controlled. Because why? We printed so many damn dollars, and you get all these dollars out there chasing a few.
He said hyperinflation. I don't know. Hope that's not true. Hope he's just speculating. Of course he's speculating, but we don't want to see hyperinflation, man. Forget that.
Goods and prices just go through the roof.
And so, what are you going to do?
Hey, I'm getting out of debt.
Oh yeah,
paying debt down as fast as possible, and be sure that you've got enough that you can plant food if you need. And I make sure I got friends that have chickens, because if they got chickens, they got eggs.
Oh, okay. Maybe I should buy some chickens. Do you have chickens, Misha?
No, but I will help.
Yeah,
your chickens.
We have space for chickens.
All right, we'll end it right there. They're just telling jokes now. So tell me what you think. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and comment down below. Why do you think Trump is doing this? Do you think that Trump is telling the truth? Do you think that they really do have control of the Strait of Hormuz, that so many billions and billions of barrels are going through, even though there's a report that says that it's not at the levels that it was before the war? But or do you think that Trump is gaslighting us? Comment down below. Let me know. This is Tommy's Take. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Peace.